Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
The man accused of opening fire inside a State Line high school won't face a trial in the near future. What the decision made by a Lee County judge means for the fate of Matthew Milby.
Fellow law enforcement and the community honor the fallen. We'll take you to the service being held in memory of those officers.
And Memorial Day's nearly here. For many, that means it's time to hit the road with family and friends. A local travel agent gives us some tips to save. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. It took a Lee County judge just a few hours to decide the man accused of a shooting at Dixon High School should stay locked up.
That means Matthew Milby will remain committed to a state facility for at least the next 2 years.
Today's proceeding is not to determine Mr. Milby's guilt as to any of these 6 counts. Today's proceeding is to determine whether or not the state's evidence is insufficient to the point where the court would acquit the defendant on any of the 6 counts.
Yesterday, the principal of Dixon High School, a gym teacher, and school resource officer all testified. They shared what they saw and heard back in May of 2018. We also saw surveillance video from inside the school. It showed who police say is Milby opened fire towards a teacher, and Officer Mark Dallas chased after him. Milby will be reevaluated over the course of the next 2 years. If he's still unfit, he could be civilly committed for up to 80 years. The superintendent of Dixon School said today, this brings to conclusion a difficult chapter in the history of the district and provides some closure to the graduating class of 2018. Our pride in the Dixon area, our students, and the collaborative relationship we have with our local law enforcement remains strong.
This week across the nation, communities take time to show support for police officers who protect and serve us all.
It's part of National Police Memorial Week. Tonight at First Free Church in Rockford, officers who made the ultimate sacrifice will be remembered. Alexis Carpello is there. She joins us now live. Alexis, the State Line lost officers over the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's right, Eric and Mimi. More people are starting to trickle in here at First Free Church. Tonight, Trooper Brooke Jones-Story, Deputy Jake Heltner, and Belvedere K-9 Loki will all be honored. The Northern Illinois Multi-Jurisdictional Honor Guard is hosting the event. It's part of Police Memorial Week. They weren't able to do this ceremony last year because of COVID, which is why officers here tell me, although this is a somber event, remembering those who gave the ultimate sacrifice provides comfort to many.
I think that it's important to remember the sacrifices that these individuals make, and it's not something that we can forget or should forget.
The ceremony begins at 6, so I'll have a full recap tonight at 9 and 10 on Eyewitness News, and you'll also hear from a police officer who knew one of those officers that died in the line of duty. But for now, reporting live in Rockford for your home team, I'm Alexis Carpello.
Alexis, thanks for that report. The end of next school year could be the end of the line for a local junior high. Oregon's superintendent has recommended closing DLR Junior High School. Dr. Tom Mahoney says the move is for money reasons. According to Mahoney, Oregon schools have been operating at a $410,000 deficit over the past 5 years. Other cuts have already been made. Teaching staff has been reduced by 14%. Administrators have been cut by 28%. If approved, junior high kids would move into the high school. The recommendation will be presented to the school board Monday.
6 days after a cyber attack shut down the nation's largest fuel pipeline, gas shortages are popping up across the nation.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill urge drivers not to panic buy. Our Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer tells us what's being done to ease supply crunch concerns as she keeps you connected to the nation's capital.
I think if we kind of take a deep breath, this will resolve itself over the next few days.
Virginia Democratic Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine are urging drivers to stay calm in the wake of a cyber hack of the nation's largest fuel pipeline.
It's not a gasoline shortage, but it's a challenge in the distribution of gasoline to gas stations.
According to a survey on GasBuddy.com, 73% of stations in Pensacola, Florida are out of gasoline. Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott says the Biden administration is doing nothing to address it.
The Biden administration needs to show up and start working with companies to figure out who's doing this and hold them accountable.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said Wednesday that the Biden administration directed all government resources to help Colonial Pipeline resolve the issue.
We have been working around the clock to help Colonial return its pipeline back to normal operations quickly.
There's also a concern of the cost of gas shooting up, with senators warning drivers to stay alert.
That kind of gouging during shortages, particularly when it's this short-term shortage, is not legal.
Warner and Kane believe the pipeline will be back up and running by the weekend.
If you don't need a lot of gas between now and Saturday, don't hoard it.
Senators on both sides of the aisle want to strengthen America's cybersecurity to prevent an attack like this from hitting again. Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer.
As more people get vaccinated and Illinois reopens, the state launches a new tourism campaign. After asking people to stay home during the pandemic, state leaders now hope people will stay in Illinois for their summer getaways. It's called Time for Me to Drive. The campaign kicked off this morning at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library in Springfield. More visitors will mean a boost for local economies and job markets. Both have been hit hard by the pandemic. Governor J.B. Pritzker says vaccines are making it safer to travel, and most travelers will be driving.
Recent surveys show that half of Americans plan to travel this summer, and half of them intend to drive. So whether you want to ease your way back into travel or are raring to go, taking the Great American Road Trip is a great way to enjoy yourself and to stay safe.
If you're heading to Springfield, you can get into the Lincoln Museum for free this month and next with proof of your vaccination.
The traditional start to the summer tourism season is later this month.
As the governor mentioned, there's no shortage of people looking to get away. Ari Bruckman spoke with some of those soon-to-be travelers. Ari, after a year with COVID, they are ready to get out of town.
Yeah, Eric and Mimi, Memorial Day weekend is the official kickoff for summer, so prepare to have other travelers on the road if you're headed out of town. Locals I spoke with say they're ready.
We're going to have a party because it's a birthday and an anniversary, so I'm looking forward to it.
While some people may be hesitant to leave home, others are planning trips after quarantining for the last year. Kim Vigiano is headed to Washington, D.C. to visit her son for the first time since the pandemic started.
No concerns. Like I said, we're all vaccinated, and I actually traveled before I was vaccinated, of course with a mask, but there was no concern. I felt safe.
Travel agents warn to plan ahead, especially if you're wanting to visit places like Disney World or international resorts. Charlie Sturm with Lindstrom Travel tells me limited occupancy for top travel destinations is making his job more challenging, but could actually make for a better vacation for you.
It's making it harder because things are booking up faster, but those people who are traveling, for instance, Mexico and the Caribbean, if you're going that far, they're on occupancy level rates of 50 to 60%. That they're capped at that by the government. It actually makes for a very nice vacation when you're down there because there are fewer people at the resort. You're not fighting for a chair.
Sturm suggests avoiding renting a car because that could end up being the most expensive part of your entire trip. Whether it's flying or driving, Ephraim Brown says he'll do whatever it takes to see his nephew's graduation in Atlanta.
I will, because love don't have a price on it. It should, because it's expensive, but no, I'll do it. We're going to get there.
Sturm encourages travelers right now looking to fly to book their tickets before prices surge as Memorial Day nears. Eric and Mimi.
All right, thanks, Ari.
A Rockford manufacturer breaks ground on a nearly $20 million expansion.
Coming up, the new facility will help the company create safer skies in the airline industry.
Plus, getting COVID-19 vaccines to those in need. Coming up at 6, this week's Ask Eric looks at the options for those who can't leave home.
We actually made a spot on our forecast high for this afternoon, up to 67 degrees after starting off with a bit of frost this morning. Could see some patchy frost again tonight. We'll look at when the numbers actually begin to warm and if we could make a run for 80 degrees next week. That's all coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
An aerospace giant that calls Rockford home breaks ground on a new state-of-the-art facility.
The multi-million-dollar project will allow the state line to leave an even bigger mark on the aviation industry. Michelle Ravai joins us in the studio. Michelle, lives could literally be saved by what's made in the state line.
That's right, Mimi and Eric. Ram air turbines are a critical piece of safety equipment on most modern planes, and the custom facility used to test them, usually only seen in companies like NASA or Boeing, is coming here to the state line.
As airplanes become larger and as airplanes require more power, our ram air turbines have gotten bigger and bigger over the history of the product.
Collins Aerospace broke ground on Wednesday for an $18 million air turbine wind tunnel test facility. Vice President of Electric Power Systems says these are extremely important when it comes to air travel.
And so what a ram air turbine does is it deploys out into the airstream and starts spinning to produce hydraulic and electric power for the aircraft. And it's just enough power for the pilot to be able to navigate the plane safely to the ground.
Stan Kotke tells me this custom-made facility will be equipped with all the latest technology to develop these turbines.
When you look at those and the technology that was available back then, we've identified new technologies that can make our manufacturing more efficient as well as safer for our employees.
And as travel begins to pick up again, Kotke believes it will be even more important all planes have these air turbines since it's been proven to save lives.
Ram air turbines are typically only deployed in the most, serious of emergencies, but those emergencies do happen. And over the last 40 years of manufacturing and testing these ram air turbines in Rockford, we've had over 2,000 lives saved.
The plan is to have this facility up and running by next summer.
We see the future of air travel to continuously grow over long periods of time, and so we want to have, our infrastructure in place to be able to take advantage of that growth.
If anyone remembers Miracle on the Hudson, if it wasn't for the ram air turbine, pilot Sully Sullenberger would not have been able to successfully land on the river and save everyone on board. Mimi, Eric.
It's amazing to know that those pieces of safety equipment are made right here in Rockford. Thanks, Michelle.
After another chilly night, it was a really nice day across the state line.
And we're going to see more of the same for the rest of the week. When we come back, Candice lets us know if we'll have to avoid some raindrops as we move into the weekend.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Well, despite the lack of rainfall, just an absolutely gorgeous Wednesday afternoon. A live look with our Marcial SkyTrack camera now out of the Park Hills Golf Course in Freeport. Just some fair weather cumulus clouds popping up for us here this afternoon. And the last several days, we've had those puffy cotton ball type clouds, the fair weather cumulus clouds develop. But just how exactly do we get that cloud cover to kind of build up after we've seen a sunny start? Well, we've got air molecules, water vapor molecules all around. So our mornings have been sunny. That's allowed the air to warm and heat up, and those bubbles of air actually rise, and we get that rising air, or kind of these thermals that kind of build up all over the area. Well, the water vapor inside those bubbles then begins to condense. Once it reaches a certain point in the atmosphere, it condenses, and then you start to see the base of that cloud. Well, that cloud then begins to grow, but the difference between those fair weather cumulus clouds and clouds, let's say, that turn into thunderstorms, the lack of vertical growth in them, because the atmospheric conditions are not favorable for those clouds to continue to grow. So what you might have noticed while we've had the cloud cover here for this afternoon, the lack of growth in them. And I wanted to share this time lapse because it's pretty neat to see actually all of this in motion. So here's this morning, we get the heating of the mid to late morning and then those cumulus clouds building up. As the sun sets this evening, we're going to see that cloud cover then begin to fade away, and that'll leave us with a clear sky here as we go through the night tonight. Kind of the same process again tomorrow and even going into Friday. 62 our temperature in Freeport, 64 here in Rockford, 61 in Rochelle. Our weather watcher Ken in Belvedere, 63 also for Ben in South Beloit, and 64 for Bob here in Rockford. Notice those dew point numbers, those numbers in the 20s, which is why we've been able to gain so much ground from where we started off at in the morning in the 30s and climbing into the 60s for the afternoon. But because of that dry air, we've got another frost advisory that'll go into effect, this time for areas east of Rockford. So DeKalb, McHenry, and Walworth counties, that frost advisory going into effect late tonight, and that will last through the morning hours tomorrow. Again, we see our skies clear out here tonight. Temperatures tonight not going to get quite as chilly as what we've been these last few nights. Most of us staying in the mid and upper 30s. We've got the cloud cover that builds up for tomorrow afternoon. The difference with tomorrow, we might see a little more vertical growth in some of that cloud cover, so a sprinkle or two will be possible, especially up to the northwest. We'll clear out again for Thursday night. Friday, we start to see sunshine return. Our winds come in from the southwest, but we've actually got a system that'll work a little closer to us. So this will bring in some cloud cover for Friday evening, Friday night, and we could get a quick passing shower that would take us there into Saturday. So 39 degrees for our temperature tonight, partly cloudy this evening, clearing skies, patchy frost will be possible. After a little bit of frost tomorrow morning, we should manage highs back up near 68 for tomorrow afternoon. We'll see highs near 70 for Friday. We knock the numbers down a little for Saturday and Sunday. I think Sunday into Monday might be a better chance for some rainfall. We get into an active pattern, guys, next week, but look at by just a week's time, we could see those temperatures back into the mid and upper 70s.
It's good that it doesn't take long for those temperatures to change back to where they're supposed to be, maybe even a little bit higher. Thanks, Candice.
Scott's in next to talk sports. He says the NFL is the king of pro sports, and this day proves it.
And now that the Blackhawks season is finished, what does Scott see in their future for next season?
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
Now, the NFL is releasing its schedule for the upcoming season in bits and pieces. This is another example of how the NFL has become the national pastime. Here it is early May when the baseball season is hitting its stride. The NBA and NHL playoffs are about to begin, and everyone's talking about the NFL. The NFL Network and Fox Sports 1 are even televising in prime time tonight live shows revealing the schedules. America wants its football. In Chicago right now, the hot story is the Bears with Justin Fields. In Wisconsin, it's not the Bucks who are hoping to compete for an NBA championship. It's not the Brewers who are off to a solid start. It's the Aaron Rodgers soap opera. And if Rodgers remains with the Packers, he'll be in New Orleans on Sunday, September 12th. That's where the Packers will open. How about this? The Bears are going to open in prime time on Sunday night, September 12th, in Los Angeles against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. A lot of eyes will be on that game strictly because of the quarterbacks, especially if Fields is starting for the Bears. The NFL is so popular, I think the NFL Network could air a special on Tom Brady eating breakfast or Aaron Rodgers taking a cat nap, and they would draw more viewers than a lot of sports would. The NFL season is still 4 months away, but many folks are ready for it right now. Well, there's not the same anticipation for next season for the Blackhawks. It's hard to see this franchise being a whole lot better than it was this season. Stan Bowman held his end of the season press conference today. There was some encouraging signs this season by some of the younger players who showed they're ready for NHL action, guys like Brandon Hagel and Philip Kurashev. Alex DeBrincat was excellent, and Patrick Kane still one of the best offensive forces in the league. But Bowman faces many of the same issues and questions this summer that he did the previous offseason, starting with the goaltender position. Kevin Lankinen looked great the first two-thirds of the season, but was shaky down the stretch. It's hard to say right now that he can become a goaltender you can compete for championships with. And Jonathan Taves' future is as cloudy as it was 5 months ago. Bowman still won't say what Taves' problem is or whether or not he expects Taves to play next season. The Blackhawks are taking that situation as it comes. Bowman has his work cut out. It will not be easy reshaping this group into a Stanley Cup champion again. It could be quite a while. That's my take. We'll be right back.
Our first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Clear skies for us tonight. Temperatures down into the 30s. Warming, though. Could see some showers for the weekend.
Candice, thanks.
And thank you for spending some time with us. Stay safe.